we knew we had to train at another level. Like it was obvious we were like 60 points behind Fiji, and the commitment and the conviction that the team had throughout this preparation for Japan was amazing.
You're listening to the MatchKitCast with me, Ben Karpinski, bringing you closer to the athletes on the MatchKit.co platform. In this week's edition of the MatchKitCast, we're talking Uruguayan rugby. Now, you might not have expected me to say that. And for many people, when you think Uruguayan rugby, some people cast their minds back to 1972. You know, there was that terrible plane accident. There was a movie and book subsequent from the actions of that. But I'm pleased to say that I've got the current captain of the Uruguayan rugby team, Andres Vilaseca, with me. And the more that I've got to know Andres and the more I've looked into the history of rugby in the country, it's a hotbed of growth and opportunity, really. Andres, how are you doing today?
Hi, Ben. Hi, everyone. Thanks for the invite first. I'm really looking forward to this chat.
Well, it's great to have you. And, looking back, Uruguay was actually one of the first sort of countries outside of the British Isles that really created like a rugby persona for itself. You know, rugby was played in this country back in the 1800s, as far back as that. Sure, technically the first test match was 1948 versus Chile. And since then, of course, you guys have been playing other South American countries and you become, let's be honest, behind Argentina, one of the strengths on the continent itself. Now, the reason why people might know a bit more about Uruguayan rugby last year, is that even though you guys have played in 4 World Cups now, so 99, 2003, 2015, 2019, the famous victory over Fiji was one of the best games. I mean, I'm saying that from a person who supported the winning team in 2019. That game was so cool. There was so much interest around it. And if nothing else, it just reminded you how much passion and enthusiasm and love for the game the sort of tier 2 nations have. Now, Andres, just take us through that game. You know, obviously you guys went in as underdogs in that one, but it was a big opportunity to show that you guys are made of something quite special. You know, on the outset, we see rugby nations like the top tier teams, and we don't really consider Uruguay. But you guys are training just as hard. You're playing just as hard. You're just as committed. So tell us a bit more about that whole Fiji experience and that huge win you guys had.
Yeah, so that Fiji win started like a year before. For those that may not know, we went on a November tour in 2018 to Europe. We played Cardiff Blues, Ulster, Fiji, and Romania. It was a tough November tour, and it was like a test for us to see where were we standing at that point, and we lost by 60 points. So that was that day and that week was really tough for us. We thought we were like a bit near Fiji, and but at the end of the day, that was a really positive thing because it encouraged us to train a lot harder throughout the 2019 year. And one thing that really helped us was that the union, the Uruguayan union, thought it was going to be very good for us, for some of the players to go and play overseas. And I was part of that group of 10 players that went to play to the MLR in the US. And the idea was to like train in a professional environment and really prepare for the World Cup. So I think the Fiji win started back at 2018, as I told you. And then on the 2019, we had like 15 professional players between Europe and MLR players. And then a group of players kept training here in our high performance center in Montevideo, and we started training at another level. Like we never experienced that kind of training. We were training like between 8 and 10 hours a day, 3 or 4 times a day, between meals, obviously. We had a number of strength and conditioning coach coming from Europe. I don't know if you're aware of Craig White. He was a strength and conditioning coach in many teams, like the best teams in Europe. He was strength and conditioning for the British Lions, and so yeah, we had these professional guys coming over to prepare us for the World Cup at Japan, and we knew we had to train at another level. Like it was obvious we were like 60 points behind Fiji, and the commitment and the conviction that the team had throughout this preparation for Japan was amazing. And we knew we were playing Fiji on our first match a year before, and we knew that Fiji played Australia 4 days before us. So those kind of things, we had them in mind, and we prepared that game like throughout a year, a whole year, only thinking about Fiji. We were really convinced we were going to win, seriously, like, before the game.
That's really impressive, and again, it just goes to show that people think there's this massive divide between the top countries and the sort of the countries further along, but it all comes down to professionalism and how much time and effort you can put into it. Now, you say some of your teammates are based in Europe. You yourself, you played in America for a stint. I think it was in Austin. Now, how difficult is it for, let's take it back a couple of steps. Now, how difficult is it to kind of produce the talent in order to get to the position where they can be identified for overseas clubs? I mean, is there a lot of rugby played at school level? Is it very strong at university level? Where's the sort of starting place in Uruguay for rugby?
No, so first in Uruguay, we have schools where sport is a big thing. Not only rugby, like you have to know that here in Uruguay, soccer is the #1 sport.
Sure.
And the only thing that Uruguayans talk about like every day. So rugby, perhaps now we are like second sport, maybe third. Basketball is a big thing here also. So we already start in our youth divisions, like already way back ahead from soccer. We really struggle to get for rugby to be famous. The 2015 and 2019 World Cup helped, obviously, but it's not enough. And so once you go out of school, we have an amateur league here in Uruguay. We have so club rugby. We don't have rugby at universities like maybe the US has. So from school, you go and play for a club. And yeah, the Uruguayan team gets the players from this club rugby. That is amateur. Like it has always been amateur. It's gonna be still amateur. And I think the turning point of rugby in Uruguay was in 2018 when we beat Canada in the qualification for Japan. It was February in 2018. That was a turning point for the Uruguayan Union because we were already qualified for Japan, and a professional structure was necessary, like for the players, coaches, and so I think that was a turning point for us. It's always hard for us to get a contract overseas because we are not that famous. We are not that. We are good players, but like if a European club has to choose between a Uruguayan and Argentinian, like they will obviously choose the Argentinian one because rugby in Argentina is a lot more famous. They achieved better things than us, and I think it's obvious. Like few of us playing overseas. I think now we have only 5 playing in Europe, and then the rest of us we are playing here in our clubs or playing professional when Uruguay has competition. That's basically it in Uruguay.
What are the sort of big games that you guys play on a year-to-year basis? I mean, who are your big rivals in South America? I know you play Peru, you play Brazil. There's a couple of countries there that you guys have qualification against all the time for the bigger tournaments. But what are the big tests that you guys play on an annual basis?
Yeah, so we've been having these past years the America's Rugby Championship. So that's like a tournament that we play against USA, Canada, Chile, Brazil, and well, us. So that's like our main competition throughout the year. Obviously, we have a South American championship that we play against Brazil, Chile, and Argentina. So we always fight against them for a place in the World Cups. We know Argentina already qualified. They usually qualify directly on World Cups for the next one. So we know that between USA, Canada, Brazil, Chile, and us, that's like the next spot for the World Cup. It's gonna be one of us, and so yeah, that's like our main teams that we fight against. We usually get November tours and Nations Cup in June. So in World Rugby windows in June, we always get like a Nations Cup. We hosted the 2017, 18, and 19 Nations Cup against. We played against Russia, Spain. We played against Argentina, Namibia. That's a really good opportunity for us to play at a higher level. And we were lucky that we won these three past editions of the Nations Cup, and that really gave us like each change our image for World Rugby. Like it was a huge step for us to win this three Nations Cup that I was mentioning. And this year we were having a great November tour against Romania, Tonga, and Italy. And well, because of COVID, everything was cancelled. But like we were little by little, we are getting there and having big games for us in order to continue growing the sport.
Now, when you talk about obviously growing the sport and continually making progress, like there's certain teams that will look at certain performances and know whether they can kind of improve. Where would be like the sort of big things that the Uruguayan team can progress with? Is it about getting additional coaching staff? Is it about, be able to have like more time together throughout the year in training camps? I mean, if you were to say add something to your team setup right now, what do you think would be the thing you would do to have success with?
Well, we are a small country, and where half of the population lives in Montevideo, the capital city. So that has always been an advantage for us, because we can gather the whole team, the best players easily, except the European ones. And I think the coaching staff is very professional. As I told you, we have some of the best strength and conditioning coaches. They are obviously in Europe for the majority of the year, but when we have competition, they come to Uruguay to help us and prepare for that competition. I think the important stuff for us is having a better competition, and we are always fighting for that competition against tier 2 teams. Tier 1, well, we had this game against Italy, as I told you, and unfortunately it was cancelled. And the competition is what made us improve along these years. We have good players, we have good coaching staff, and we are all here together in Uruguay, in Montevideo. Like we have an amazing high performance center. So I think the competition, it's what's gonna make us improve or not. Maybe it is Romania, Tonga, like the best tier 2 teams. That's what's gonna make us improve.
No, and just like when this all started, I mean, obviously you said that football, as we know in South America, it's like a religion. It's so much more than sport. What made you want to play rugby and not just play football like anybody else would?
I'm a sports fan since childhood. Like I love soccer, I love rugby, I loved whatever sport I was playing at school, and I think my turning point was that I have two older brothers. They're 5 and 7 years older than me, so I grew up like watching them. That's like a classic little brother. You always like admire your older brothers. So I grew up watching them. They played rugby and soccer, and but the older one, he started playing rugby like he put rugby ahead of soccer. So like I just grew up watching him. I thought of the idea of someday playing with him. I had the opportunity to play a World Cup with him, and that was amazing. And I think, yeah, the help of my brothers encouraged me to choose rugby. And I think it was one of the best decisions I made in my life. Like I already played 2 World Cups. I had my best experiences. My friends, they are all from rugby. And yeah, I think I made the right choice.
Well, for sure. And a great thing about like going to World Cups, of course, is I would imagine rugby is a much friendlier sport than football. You can make a lot more friendships in the sport than say in football itself. In Japan, people said it was a very good World Cup because the Japanese people were so good. It was a country that was so happy to have rugby. What were some of your other really, really good memories of the 2019 Rugby World Cup?
Well, definitely Japanese people, as you said, they were amazing. It's an amazing country. We had the opportunity to visit Tokyo. We had a day off, and I think they have an amazing culture. They are like amazing. And then my best memories of Japan are the Uruguayan people that traveled over there to watch us play. They traveled like across the world just to see us play, and the big effort that they made. Japan is a very expensive country, and and it's not that common that we can travel all across the world for Uruguayans. So yeah, we had a lot of Uruguayans, a lot of families that travel over there, and that's like my best memory of Japan, like winning against Fiji and having all these people in the crowd. Our families, they were crying, shouting, jumping, and I think that's the best memory I have from the World Cup.
That sounds amazing. Now, you have been recently appointed as the captain of the Uruguay national team. Now, obviously, this is a plan that goes in a sort of 4-year cycle, and you guys are no doubt building for the next Rugby World Cup in France. What are some of the things that you would like to do differently in the build up to this World Cup? Obviously, you guys go through the same sort of qualification process. It's the same building of the team process. But after the experience that you now have, what would you like to do differently with the team to get to ahead to 2023?
One of my main goals as a captain is to have everybody happy in a good training environment. Obviously, we have like 40 people training at the high performance center, and some of us have a contract, some of us don't have a contract, some of us are still studying, some of us are still working. So we have like a diversity inside the team that maybe it sounds like a disadvantage, but like that's us, like that's the Uruguayan main thing that we have. So my main goal is to have everybody happy, and then obviously having our game, getting our game to another level. Like we have to continue improving. The Fiji game and the World Cup in Japan, it's already passed, and we need to look forward and really change our game, improve our game. If we want to compete and go to France and have the ambition of winning 2 games in a World Cup, that's never done before in Uruguay history. And I have to certainly push the players to that. Like we need to create a professional structure and environment. It's necessary throughout all these years until we get to France, and we have the quality of players to win 2 games in France. Like I'm really looking forward to it, but I think I need to push mainly the young guys. Like we have lots of young players going into the first national team. Need to push them hard so that they can be more professional as they can be. And it's not only about the money and or getting a contract by the union. It's about having the opportunity to play for your country in a World Cup and being part of the history of Uruguayan rugby.
Oh, for sure. I mean, and this is something that I'm so excited about. Obviously getting to know you and just knowing that South America as a rugby continent, I mean, there are just such great developments happening there. And it's really great to have you and your team on MatchKit now. So if you want to see more of Andres, go to matchkit.co/Fatiga Villa. You spell it FATIGAVILA. That is his MatchKit link. So you can go there. You can find out more of our social channels and some pictures, of course, of him and a little video. And well, Andres, we are going to definitely follow your story here. And I think as this progresses, it's just great to know the sort of the struggles of a tier 2 nation to try and get up there. As you say, if you can get better competition, you guys get better, as you've shown with the recent results. So I think it's obviously a world imperative, and we see it with other sports too. We see it with cricket, we see it with even in football. When you play the bigger teams, you become a bigger team yourself. So it'll be great to see if we can be part of this together as a combination. And of course, World Cup 2023, you guys had a win in 1999. You beat Spain. 2003, you beat Georgia. 2019, you beat Fiji. As you say, you've got the player quality. It's just about developing it now. And I wish you all the absolute best. Andres, you've got 55 test caps yourself. By the time you get there, you're going to be the veteran of the team. You'll be the old man of the team.
I'm already the old man of the team. One of the olds. But yeah, I'm happy. I'm happy to be the captain of the squad. We have a great leadership group, about 6 or 7 players. So we are getting the team towards the main objective to qualify for France first. I think next year we have the qualification. We don't know yet what's like the format of that, but we are already training and preparing for that game or games. I don't know how many games we have to play to qualify, but yeah, we're going to be ready. And thank you for the MatchKit opportunity. I think it's a great platform for us to get the Uruguayan rugby as famous as possible. As I said, we have the quality on the players, on the coaching staff, and we know we can still continue to make history in rugby in Uruguay. I'm definitely sure we're going to win two games in France. And yeah, MatchKit is going to be a part of it. So I'm really excited.
And before you go, I just want to add one more thing. Another app that I've recently picked up is South America Rugby. There's some amazing coverage. Of course, not a lot of your games will be televised globally, like, say, the Springboks or the All Blacks or the English or whatever. If you go into South America Rugby, there's a fantastic app that does follow the progress. And of course, the Los Pumas beating the All Blacks recently is a lot more sort of hype around the teams are coming out of there. So I would say follow him on MatchKit, matchkit.co/Fatiga Villa, and the South America Rugby app as well. I think this is a hotbed of rugby that we can tap into, and there's some really, really great stories, not just Andres, but so much more coming out of here. Thanks very much, Andres.
Yeah, thank you, Ben. Thanks for the invite, and we'll see you around sometime.
Are you an athlete looking to better commercialize your career? Visit matchkit.co/register and see what this unique web builder can do for your sporting profile.